Security cameras at a loading area captured a terrifying safety incident, a moment where ignoring operating limits nearly turned fatal. A forklift attempts to raise a heavy load onto the back of a truck using its hydraulic lift system. At first, everything looks manageable, but the load is too heavy. Within seconds, the forklift begins to lose balance, tipping forward under excessive weight. Then disaster almost happens. The sudden pressure causes a protective steel bar to snap loose and launch into the air at high speed. The metal beam flies violently across the scene, narrowly missing a worker standing on the truck bed nearby. Just a few centimeters closer, and this could have ended in death. This footage delivers a powerful warning. Never operate heavy machinery beyond its rated load capacity. Because when limits are ignored, the margin between survival and tragedy becomes dangerously small. Security cameras inside this production facility captured a dangerous incident, a moment when an unexpected chemical reaction nearly turned routine work into disaster. A worker is carefully mixing residual material inside a large container. At first, everything appears normal. Then something feels wrong. He notices unusual signs. The mixture begins reacting unpredictably, changing temperature and pressure. Sensing danger, he immediately stops and calls a coworker over to inspect the situation. But there's no time. In a split-second, boom! A violent explosion erupts from inside the container, sending flames and sparks bursting outward. The blast pressure throws debris across the area, severely injuring the worker closest to the reaction, especially around the face. What began as a routine task becomes a life-threatening emergency in an instant. This incident serves as a powerful reminder. When working with flammable or reactive chemicals, proper protective equipment and strict emergency procedures are not optional. They are the difference between safety and catastrophe. Security cameras on a rooftop captured a haunting workplace accident, one that turned an ordinary repair job into a violent explosion. Under the scorching heat, an HVAC technician is focused on inspecting and repairing an outdoor air conditioning unit. Everything appears routine, just another service call. But hidden danger is already building inside the system. Without warning, a sudden blast erupts. A loud explosion sends the technician violently thrown backward. Pressurized gas and fragments of metal burst outward, followed by a flash of fire and a cloud of thick smoke that quickly engulfs the rooftop. The worker lies motionless after the powerful impact, as the scene fills with dust and silence. This incident serves as a stark reminder. High-pressure equipment can become deadly without proper precautions. A single technical oversight or a hidden equipment failure can instantly turn routine maintenance into a catastrophic explosion. Security footage captured a rare near-death moment, a split-second escape that could have ended in tragedy. Below the excavation area, a worker is focused on his task, completely unaware of the danger forming above him. Without warning, a massive concrete slab suddenly breaks loose and begins falling straight down. For a fraction of a second, disaster seems unavoidable. But then instinct takes over. The excavator operator reacts instantly, dropping the bucket at the exact moment the concrete crashes downward. The heavy steel bucket becomes a shield, blocking the falling debris just inches from the worker below. What could have been a fatal accident turns into an unbelievable escape. This was more than luck. It was timing, awareness, and precise coordination between man and machine. A powerful reminder that in high-risk environments, quick thinking can mean the difference between life and death.
This operator almost had the excavator loaded, but he stopped too soon. Because the machine didn't crawl far enough onto the truck bed, the center of gravity stayed over the ramp, causing it to flip completely off the truck. A worker tries to step down from a scaffold using an unsecured ladder. When the ladder slides out, the worker is forced to hang from the scaffold rail. Because the tall tower has no side supports, it tips over completely. The operator gets off the forklift without setting the brake. The machine rolls forward, trapping a worker against the truck. Fortunately, he was not injured. A crane attempts to lift a heavy front loader onto a truck bed. Because the crane's arm is stretched out at too wide of an angle, it cannot handle the heavy weight. The load pulls the crane off balance, causing the whole machine to tip forward and crash. This shows why pulling a tree from the front is a big risk. The two helpers try to guide the tree, but it falls right toward them. Standing in the drop zone gives you little time to dodge. You must always stand clear of the fall line.
Dashcam footage captured a shocking highway incident, one caused by a mistake almost impossible to believe. A truck is traveling at high speed along the highway, moving smoothly with traffic. Everything appears normal. But there's one critical problem. The dump bed in the back is still fully raised, and the driver has no idea. As the truck passes beneath an overhead highway sign structure, the elevated bed slams directly into the steel crossbeam. The impact is violent. The entire sign assembly twists and tears apart instantly. The front of the truck jolts upward off the pavement before crashing back down and coming to a sudden stop in the middle of moving traffic. Debris scatters across the roadway, creating immediate danger for every vehicle behind. This incident delivers a hard lesson. Always check your equipment before hitting the road, because one moment of oversight can destroy critical infrastructure and put countless lives at risk in seconds. Security cameras inside a factory captured a horrifying moment during a heavy lifting operation. 4 workers are carefully coordinating the movement of a massive steel block weighing nearly 10 tons. The crane begins lifting the load slowly, tension building as the weight rises off the ground. Everything appears controlled. Then disaster strikes. The lifting chain suddenly slips loose from its connection point. In an instant, the suspended load loses support. The 10-ton steel block crashes downward with unstoppable force, striking a worker standing nearby before anyone has time to react. Shock spreads across the scene as co-workers rush toward the fallen man, realizing how quickly a routine task has turned into tragedy. This incident delivers a critical safety lesson. Always inspect lifting connections before operation, and never stand within the fall zone of a suspended load. Because when heavy equipment fails, gravity gives no second chances. Security cameras inside a warehouse captured a heart-stopping moment when curiosity nearly turned into tragedy. A young boy, around 6 or 7 years old, wanders into the facility without supervision. Drawn by curiosity, he climbs onto a moving conveyor belt that is actively operating. The machine keeps running, unaware. Slowly, the conveyor begins pulling the child toward the narrow rollers and powerful drive mechanisms ahead, a place where escape would be nearly impossible. Then, a miracle happens. 2 nearby workers notice the small figure moving along the belt. Without hesitation, they sprint toward the emergency controls and slam the shutdown switch. The entire system stops just seconds before disaster. Their quick reaction saves the child from a catastrophic accident. This footage delivers an important lesson. Industrial environments are never safe for unsupervised children, and accessible emergency stop systems can mean the difference between tragedy and survival.